Hi everyone, let us discuss about the basic thermodynamic definitions by Dr. H.V. Mulimani, working as Assistant Professor in BGMIT Mudra. Let us try to understand what is thermodynamics, how it is defined, and what are its applications. The thermo means heat, the dynamics means power, as it is a Greek term. So clearly depicting efforts of conversion of heat into power. So it majorly deals between the relation among the heat, work and properties of the system. It is also defined as a science of engineering that deals with heat and work, mutual conversion of heat and work, exchange of energy, storage of energy, entropy. Thermodynamics applications are found in all the fields of energy technology, mainly steam power plants, nuclear power plants or any thermal power plants, internal combustion engine, gas turbines, air conditioning, refrigeration, gas dynamics, jet propulsions, compressors and many other devices also. So you can observe that thermodynamics is in all the energy technology fields, wherever we talk about the heat, work and its other related activities. Microscopic and macroscopic approach. Microscopic approach. Micro means small. From microscopic point of view, individual molecule is considered. It is also known as statistical method. Now let us take an example and think about it. Consider a air in a cylinder. Volume of air contains approximately 10 raised to 25 molecules. Each molecule moves with its own velocity. To describe each molecule, 3 coordinates and 3 velocity components are required. Therefore, 6 variables are required. So, hence 6 into 10 raised to 25 equations are needed to calculate property of a given substance. This behavior of gas is given by summing up all the behavior of each individual molecule. Such a study is called as microscopic approach. That is, in this large number of variables are required to describe the system. Now coming to macroscopic approach, that is big or large. In this approach, certain quantity of matter is considered without the events occurring at the molecular level. In this, properties are measured on a larger scale. It is also called as classical thermodynamics. Here, very few properties are required to describe the system. System, surrounding, boundary and universe. System is a confined space where we focus on, and rest other than the system is the surrounding. Combining both system and the surrounding is the universe. The surface which separates the system from the surrounding is called as boundary, as shown in the figure. Let us discuss about open system, closed system, isolated system with some examples. In open system, both the mass and energy cross the system boundary in either direction, from the system to surroundings or vice versa. Most of the engineering devices are open system. It is also called as control volume. The examples of open system are pumps, compressors, turbines, valves, heat exchangers. As shown in the figure, in this, the mass can enter the system, mass can leave the system. And even the energy, that is work or heat, can enter the system, can leave the system, as shown in the figure. Now coming to the closed system. In closed system, no mass is permitted to cross the system boundary. It only permits heat and work to enter or leave, but the mass can't leave. That is, the mass is constant. So it is also known as constant mass. As shown in the figure, the energy, that is heat or work, can enter or leave the system. Here, no mass entry or exit takes place. The example is sealed tanks, piston cylinder device without any valves. Now coming to the isolated system. Isolated system are those where there is no interaction between the system and surroundings. It is of a fixed mass and energy. Hence, there is no mass and energy transfer across the system boundary. As shown in the figure, the system is completely isolated from the surrounding. The best example for this is the entire universe or the thermo flask. Consider a cup or a beaker which is open to the surroundings. So it becomes the examples for open system because here both mass can enter or leave. That is, we can pour more liquid to the beaker or even to the cup. So mass can enter or mass can leave. And even when it is hot or some chemical reactions takes place in the beaker, that can move out. So the energy can go out or go inside the beaker or the cup. So it becomes the examples for the open system. Now considering for the closed system, you have a cup which is sealed and a beaker which is sealed. Here, since it is sealed, we can't take out the mass, that is, we can't take out the liquid from the beaker. So only the heat transfer takes place. So that becomes the example for closed system because no mass entry or exit takes place, only the heat exchange takes place here. Now considering the third example, that is the isolated system, the thermo flask or the beaker. Here the beaker is covered by the insulating material and it is also sealed. So similar to the thermo flask, no mass can enter because we can't pour the liquid because it is closed, and since it is insulated and the thermo flask is also insulated, so no heat or work can be passed out. So in the entire system is isolated from the surrounding. So these are the examples for open system, closed system and isolated system. Intensive and extensive properties. And intensive properties are independent of the mass. Example, temperature, pressure, specific volume, density, velocity, melting or boiling point. The extensive properties are dependent on the mass. Example, mass, weight, total volume, total energy, length, shape. So I have given some image for examples also. Intensive, to remember, it is independent. The word intensive has IN and the independent have the word IN. So it is easy to remember. Intensive is independent of the mass. Let us discuss some more definitions of thermodynamics, like properties of system, state, process, path, state diagram and state point in this slide. So properties of system. The characteristics which describe the condition of system are called as properties. That is, the system can be described by its physical conditions, for example, pressure, volume, temperature, etc. Now, state. When all the properties of system have the definite value, the system is said to exist in a definite state. Actually, the properties describe the state of the system. Now coming to process. The transformation of system from one equilibrium state to another is called as process. Now the path. It is the series of states through which the system passes. Now coming to the state diagram. The diagram which indicates state of a system at different instants on Cartesian coordinates with two independent properties being represented on x and y axis is known as state diagram. The point on the state diagram showing the condition of the system on XY axis is called as state point. Reversible and irreversible process. A reversible process is one where both system and surroundings may be restored to their initial states without making changes to the universe. They are carried out infinitely slowly with extremely small changes to the system via its surroundings. As discussed in quasi-static process, any reversible process is a quasi-static one. The reversible process is an ideal process which never occurs. It is something like hypothetical which doesn't really occur. So all the reversible processes are ideal. Now coming to the irreversible process. These are the natural process which occurs. An irreversible process is a process that cannot return both the system and the surroundings to the original conditions. The irreversible processes are the natural processes that commonly occur or found in our nature. The main causes of irreversibility is the friction, expansion of the fluids, heat transfer and mixing of the two substances. So we can understand that reversible process are the ideal process, irreversible process are the natural process. Now let us discuss about thermodynamic equilibrium. Thermodynamic equilibrium is the one where there is no change in any macroscopic properties. The system will be in thermodynamic equilibrium if the three types of equilibrium are satisfied, that is mechanical equilibrium, chemical and thermal equilibrium. Mechanical equilibrium is the one where there is no unbalanced force or unbalanced pressure acting on the system. If there is no unbalanced force or pressure acting on a system, then we say it as a mechanical equilibrium. The chemical equilibrium is the one where there is no chemical reactions going on. For example, if there is some reaction between the A and B and we combine we are getting the C and D. After some time, there is no reactions taking place. That is A and B are same and C and D are same. There is no reverse or forward reaction taking place. Then we call it as a chemical equilibrium if there is no chemical reactions going on. The thermal equilibrium is the one if there is no change in temperature. If, for example, if we have a hot rod and we have placed a cold rod at the side, there will be a heat transfer going takes place. The temperature from the hotter body gets cooler and the cold body will be getting hotter. After some time there is no heat flow. Then we call it as a thermal equilibrium. The system is said to be in thermal equilibrium if there is no change in the temperature. So if all these mechanical, chemical and thermal are in equilibrium, then we call it as a thermal equilibrium. Quasi-static process. Quasi means almost. Infinite slowness is a main property of quasi-static process. And as we discussed earlier in reversible process, any reversible process is a quasi-static one. So the process or the slow process during which system remains in equilibrium with one another is a quasi-static process, or the process during which system remains close to an equilibrium state is called as quasi-static process. Now let us see it with a simple example. Now consider a cylinder and a piston on which we have kept a weight on it, and now remove the weight, or say I have kept some 1000 kg of weight and remove it suddenly. What will happen? There is a spontaneous change in the system. So the system loses its equilibrium. It is not in the equilibrium state. Now the same thing you consider, you are removing the small layers of the weight. Now it's 1000 kg. I am removing 0.1 gram. So is there any changes in the equilibrium? There is a small change, or it remains always close to the equilibrium. So there is a change which is almost, that is what is a quasi, infinite slowness. So next again I am removing the 0.1 gram, again 0.1 gram. So as you see in the PV diagram, there is a small change, but even then we say that it remains in the equilibrium. That effect does not makes any changes in the system. It's a small change, that is what is a quasi. So this is how we plot the PV diagram. So quasi-static process is a one where the system remains in equilibrium or remains close to an equilibrium state, that is called as quasi-static process. The cyclic and non-cyclic process. The cyclic process is a one where the initial and final points are same as shown in the figure. And the non-cyclic process is a one where the initial state and the final state are different. So as shown in the figure. Point and path function. Let us try to understand the difference between point and path function. First, point function. It depends on the state of the system only, and it does not depends on how the system reaches that state. Point functions does not depend on the history or path of the system. When two coordinates are located in a graph, they define a point, and the two properties on the graph decide the state. All the thermodynamic properties are the point functions, since at given state there is a definite value for the each properties. Examples of point functions are pressure, temperature, mass, volume, density, enthalpy, entropy, internal energy, etc. Now consider the figure. Let a system be taken from state 1 to state 2 along the paths A, B and C. The properties of states 1 and 2 are fixed. Hence, these properties are called as point function. The differentials of point functions are exact or perfect differentials, and the integration of them is dv. When we integrate from the limit of v1 to v2, we will be having v2 minus v1. That is, change of volume depends only on the end states, irrespective of the path. And the main another property of point function is cyclic integrals of all the point functions is 0. Point functions can be integrated with final and initial value, and the point functions are properties of the system. Now coming to the path functions, their magnitude depends upon the path followed during the process as well as the end states. It depends upon the history, that is the path of the system. These are certain quantities. There are certain quantities like heat and work, which cannot be located on the graph by a point, but they are represented by the area. It is not a state or a point function. Rather, it depends on the path of the process. Such quantities are called as path functions. So, the examples are heat and work. Both are the path functions. A system can be transformed from state 1 to state 2 along many paths as shown in the figure A, B and C. The area under these curves are called as work done or the heat transfer. Those are the path functions. Quantity of work in each path is not same and is not depending upon the end points. Therefore, work is a path functions. The differentials of the path functions are inexact differentials. So integration of dw to 1 to 2 is work from 1 to 2, some one point to another point. The cyclic integral of path functions may be 0 or may not be 0. When it needs many multiple integrates and limits of integrates in order to integrate. The path functions are not the properties of the system. In this slide, let us study few of the processes which we encounter during in our thermodynamics. First, the isothermal process. The process which takes place at constant temperature are the isothermal process. Isobaric is the one which takes place at the constant pressure. Isochronic is the one which takes place at the constant volume. Reversible processes are those in which both system and surroundings may be restored to their initial states without making changes to the universe. The system is very close to the equilibrium all the times. Actually, this reversible process doesn't exist. Actually, these are the hypothetical and these are the ideal one. All the process which occurs are the irreversible process. The next is the adiabatic. The adiabatic is the one where there is no heat interaction. Only the work interaction takes place. For example, for a system, we have a boundary which is covered with the insulating material. So, there is no heat interaction in the adiabatic process. Diathermic wall is the one which allows only heat but no work transfer takes place. So in adiabatic there is no heat interaction, only the work interaction takes place, where in diathermic wall there is only the heat interaction, no work interaction takes place. After studying the zeroth law of thermodynamics, we understand that zeroth law of thermodynamics is a basis of temperature measurements. Now let us try to understand equality of temperature. Let the two blocks of copper, one is hot and other may be cold, are brought together in the thermal communication with each other. Each block is in contact with mercury glass thermometer. After some time, the mercury thermometer shows the same temperature for both the body. Therefore, it is concluded that two bodies have equality of temperature. For this, two blocks of copper are body A and body B are in contact with each other. The test body C is known as a thermometer which defines the equality of temperature as shown in the figure. Now let us try to understand zeroth law of thermodynamics based on the figure provided. So before that, let me revise what is an adiabatic process and the diathermic wall. So adiabatic wall is a one where no heat interaction takes place but only the work interaction takes place. And for diathermic wall is a one which allows only the heat but no work interaction takes place. So if from the figure, if system S1 is in thermal equilibrium with S3 and S2 is in thermal equilibrium with S3, then S1 and S2 both will be in thermal equilibrium. This fact can be explained from the figure as shown in the figure. Let us focus on the figure 1. In figure 1, two systems S1 and S2 are separated by a adiabatic wall, and S1 and S2 are simultaneously in communication with S3 through the diathermic wall. Consider the whole assembly is enclosed in a adiabatic enclosure. After some time, S1 and S2 reach equilibrium with S3 also, since there will be a heat transfer between S1 and S3 and S2 and S3 because it is separated by a diathermic wall. Now consider the same in the figure 2 where the diathermic wall and the adiabatic wall are interchanged. At this point, S1 and S2 are communicated through the diathermic wall because it allows the heat transfer, so both reach the thermal equilibrium. But there will be no change in S3. So hence this proves the zeroth law of thermodynamics. The significance of zeroth law lies in the fact that it forms the basis of temperature measurement. Now let us say S1 is a system whose temperature is to be measured, S2 be the melting point of ice or the ice point, that is 0 degrees Celsius, and S3 be the thermometer. Let S3 is brought near to the S2. The temperature level drops and equilibrium is reached, and this level is marked as 0 degree Celsius since S2 is the ice point. Now let S1 be brought with the S3, that is S1 is brought near to the thermometer. If the temperature measured by the mercury level is also 0, then we can mark that S1 and S3 are in thermal equilibrium. By zeroth law, S1 must be in the temperature equilibrium with S2 as S2 is assigned 0 degree Celsius. So S1 must also be 0 degree Celsius. Similarly, the same experiment can be carried out for the steam point, that is for 100 degree Celsius. So by this we can say that the zeroth law is very significant for measurement of the temperatures. Let us study about temperature scale. There are four types of temperature scale: Celsius, Fahrenheit, Kelvin and Rankine scale. In Celsius scale, ice, steam and triple points are assigned the values of 0 degree Celsius, 100 degree Celsius and 0.01 degree Celsius respectively. For Fahrenheit, ice, steam and triple points are 32, 212 and 32.018 respectively. For Kelvin, the ice point is 273.15, steam point is 373.15 and triple point is 273.16 Kelvin. And for Rankine it is 491.67, steam point is 671.67 and triple point is 491.69. Temperature conversion formulas. These are the temperature conversion formulas which we have mentioned here, where we can convert from one scale to another temperature scale. Let us study about fixed points or International Practical Temperature Scale. The main purpose of this is to serve as an international standard or reference temperature. So the fixed points are used in calibrating the thermometers, and they are reproducible temperatures. They are measured by using primary gas thermometers and are assigned with certain fixed values which are universally accepted.